hello. Welcome back. It's week 88 on Out on That Line. I'm Geoff with my co-host, Alex. Alex, how you doing this week?
Geoff, I got to tell you, I am shaking like a dog shitting peach seeds, buddy. I am, for once, not necessarily excited, but petrified to review an album. The one we have this week has big stakes and an incredibly, militaristic, devout following. What are we doing this week, Geoff? What are we doing?
We are doing, and if you weren't aware of this, you must be living under a rock, because Beyoncé has released a new album called Renaissance. And this one is, I don't know when she released her last one. Honestly, I'm not like the biggest Beyoncé fan. I've heard a zillion songs by them because my fiance loves Beyoncé, and I don't hate anything she does. And so this album came out and it was getting played in my world. In my orbit, this album was getting played a lot. So I've had my full experience with this album. I am ready to talk about it. I am also a little scared because I don't know a ton about Beyoncé. You know, if I speak out of turn about something, there is that very passionate fan base that you were talking about. And, they can get a little vicious, a little aggressive sometimes.
Yeah, they really are. They borrow from the old Kim Jong-un playbook. They go hard in the paint sometimes. I have valid criticisms of the album and stuff like that. I just don't feel comfortable sharing them. So I think this may be the first Out on That Line propaganda episode.
I was going to say, you want to talk about going heavy, comparing them to Kim Jong-un. Hot start.
Dude, they are. They're well organized and they don't give any fucks. And they want those nukes.
They are well organized. Yeah, they are certainly driving those tanks that look like cardboard. They are well goddamn organized. That's for sure.
Beep, beep, motherfucker.
So one thing I have to do is just give so much credit to Beyoncé, because there was a situation on this album. She used a ton of samples. That was basically, I think, how most of the album was constructed, was with samples from other songs. Now, she used one from the singer Keyless of Milkshake fame. Banger song, if y'all remember that.
Why don't you do it for us, Geoff? I don't think that people know what you're talking about.
Well, you know what? Let's get Mitch to do a special recording and we'll drop it in the episode.
The Mitch shake. I love it.
So Beyoncé used this sample from Keyless, and Keyless apparently was not cool with that. So she released a statement, and I'm going to paraphrase here because I don't have it up in front of me, but she was never consulted about it. She was not happy that it got used without her consent or knowing about it, or whether she could have given permission. I don't know if she says that she wouldn't have given permission. I think the problem was that it was just used without really her being consulted. So Beyoncé, instead of releasing a response or anything, just no fanfare, just took that song down from streaming services, removed that sample, and put it back up without that sample. And Keyless lost her writing credit on that song because of this. And I think in that song, there's a lyric that says, "I can be as petty as you," or something like that. I'm sure somebody can correct me if that's wrong. But it's just very funny to me that the depths of the petty, it's like, okay, you were going to get a lot of money from this song, but now you're not.
Dude, it is. It's fucking hilarious. Hearing that story in that moment, I understand why people would spill blood for Beyoncé, because that is some petty shit.
Yes.
But she also has a point, so she's just able to look regal as fuck while she's being that petty.
Queen bee indeed. I just really, she's some folks would consider her maybe the queen of pop or queen of R&B. I guess I don't know from this album, and we can kind of get started talking about the album itself. I don't know if this album is really, I would consider it pop. There's a lot of pop elements, but it's very much its own thing. It felt more like a DJ set at a dance club than anything to me. And I think when I looked at it through that perspective, I enjoyed it quite a bit, because I was like, oh, this is just kind of an experience all the way through. And she just wanted you to have a good time while you listen to this. And I think if you approach it from that angle, you can have a pretty good time with this one.
And I agree. And I think the thing for me is I tried to look at it, and I don't want to sound like a dick when I say this. I mean it in a very sincere way, because I think it makes It helps me make sense of the album because normally this wouldn't be my type of music, but I see it as her like cosplaying, almost like doing like putting on a play about dance music and disco and simultaneously being part of this like disco revival that's going on here that I'm here for. I've been talking about how great disco is for years. And well, wouldn't you know who won the pony? Because everyone's all about disco again suddenly, motherfuckers. Turn up the power.
You should get that on a t-shirt for yourself.
I just think I might. I intend to. Yeah, no, but it like I don't know. I kind of looked at it from like a performance angle, especially because a lot of the stuff is steeped in like drag ball culture and like black queer kind of stuff. So it's trying to tell those kind of stories anyway, using that music as that medium. So I kind of did. I looked at it as like a musical, like a play, like that kind of thing. Beyonce does a dance musical, and through that lens, it was super fucking enjoyable.
Yes, and I think so. Getting into the songs themselves, so the ones we picked, and it's kind of funny, how this worked because I think these were meant to be experienced basically as one song with 4 parts. Is kind of how I looked at this. The way that it melded together. Some call her the queen of pop. She may also be the queen of transitions because they were seamless going through these 4 songs, and we're going to talk about each one of them. Starting with one of your picks is Cuff It.
I'm not going to bury the lead here on an album that is a minefield of boner jams, just a little fucking cabbage patch of horniness. I tried to nab like the 3 gnarliest ones on the album. And
I think you did.
To wit, I would like to do a jaunty recitation of actual lyrics from the song.
Oh, please do. Please do.
Hypersonic, sex erotic, on my body, boy, you got it. Hit them hydraulics while I ride it. Got me acting hella thoughty. So excited, so exotic. I'm a seasoned professional. Squeeze it, don't let it go. Tease it, no self-control. Tell me that is not some of the most publicly, flagrantly horny shit you've ever heard a person do, let alone Beyonce.
Yeah, never, ever let it be said that Beyonce has ever been anything but horny with a capital H. Capital H. It is, I mean, when you listen to it, though, she's got such a, like, smooth, like, nice voice, and the way that she can just, like, sing in such that kind of, like, lower, whispery register when she does these sort of things. It's a very appealing way to, it's a very appealing style of music. I'll say that when you hear Beyonce do songs like this.
Oh my God, dude. She puts her whole self into it.
Yes.
Puts her whole self into it. Because, like, I don't mean to be untoward talking about how horny this material is. However, I would also posit she put it out there. And if Beyonce can do no wrong, then I can't be wrong talking about it. Lawyered.
True. I mean, it's just, I think also think about all of, like, the horniest songs you've ever heard. Like, none of them are usually, like, a horny song is usually not a good song at the same time. They can be, like, enjoyable to listen to because they have that kind of, like, tongue-in-cheek or they're funny. Like, this one is meant for you to take very seriously. And it's some of the most, like, just generally kind of explicit lyrics. This is on some, like, almost like Nicki Minaj or, like, Cardi B level of kind of, just making, kind of setting the scene exactly as it is, I guess, without getting too deep in the weeds on this terminology here. But it's just like, I don't know. It's just how she can do this and make it seem like it's just fine for anybody to listen to. It's just a pretty admirable quality, I think.
See, and that's the thing is it's the same flavor as like the gnarly Cardi B lyrics or Doja Cat or Megan Thee Stallion. Just these like hyper explicit lyrics that kind of match the hyper explicit quality of the music videos. We've seen that, but the way Beyonce does it, again, word I'm gonna hit. They don't call her Queen Bee for nothing. It's regal. She does this very like, she's very subtle. She paints you an image instead of being like super on the nose with it. So instead of like, I stick my ass in your face, she's giving you an image of like hydraulics and
Yeah.
these different kind of, she paints this whole horny scene without being explicitly horny about it, but you get the gist, because she
Yep.
puts her whole self into it.
Yeah. It's really good. And the way, again, so I mentioned the transition, but now we can really talk about it. The way that these songs all just flow one to the next before you kind of like realize that it's changing is a really, really cool trick. This is what makes it feel like you're at a dance club, and just the way that, the DJ is always going to find a way to meld one song into the other. So he'll start borrowing elements from the next song and kind of layering them into the song that you're listening to so that it bridges that gap. So when you go into the next one, you're like, oh, I'm familiar with this beat. This has been playing, but now that's all that's playing. And you're fully into this new song. And that's kind of exactly what they do here is they get you into this new song without a defined like end of the song before it. That's why I think it's more of like a 4-part song. I think of these ones we're talking about more than it's just like 4 separate songs.
Yeah, it's almost like a little suite. You know what I mean? Like the needle never picks up. The 4 flow into each other. And the first 3 before it do the same thing. And that's like there are little pockets like that all throughout. You get a little breather here and there, but barely. Girlfriend of the pod and I were on a drive listening to this, and that was the game we were playing. It's like, do you think this is a new song? And it would, half the time I could not tell the difference. It was like really seamless stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it goes right into energy here, which if I'm being like completely honest, was one of my like, this is not really my cup of tea moments on the album. But like you picked it, so clearly you feel some kind of way.
So this is of the 3 that I picked. This is probably the least favorite one of the 3 that I picked. But I wanted to pick it because I wanted to talk about these transitions, and it like just worked out even better that she picked the one that preceded this one. So it really just kind of, flowed all the way through. I do like that she, I don't know if Beyonce's ever going to get like outright political in her music, like really on the nose with it. Maybe she has before. I'm just not that I'm aware of, but she starts to in this one. I think outside of her music, I don't think she's ever been afraid of being political. And so I don't think she like hides that. I think she just doesn't really put it in her music. And I'd be interested to hear like what a Beyonce like protest album might sound like.
It's an interesting question. I'm aware of a song I think it's called Spirit. Mm-hmm. And I think that one was pretty like inherently political, as I recall. I don't remember it. I don't know if I've ever heard it. I have no idea, but I read about it.
Okay.
So like, I would say there's politics in her music. I can't tell you where and how many times it comes up, but she's done it at least once. What would a whole protest album sound like? I have no idea. Some would say Lemonade was a protest against all mankind.
Well, I was gonna bring that up actually, because I was like, think of the roasts that she did on Lemonade. I mean, and on this album too. There were some very mean things said on this album. That's another point I want to touch on in a little bit too. It's like, when is enough enough? So with this, and I kind of lost my train of thought there, but with this like album, I'd be interested because she can roast people so well that, think of the things she said about Jay-Z on this album and like the previous ones as well. Think about what she would say about Republicans in those other, like the things that she would say about them, they wouldn't even be able to respond to. Because think about what she's willing to put on this album. Like there are not many lines she's not going to cross with like what she's willing to put out there in her art. So I would love to hear her just go like real hard and just hear what like a real like political stance would be in a song for her. We can move into the biggest hit on this album, I guess, so far. Maybe there's another one that's going to overtake it, but I'm not sure. This one is one that I hear like playing in dance clubs for like years. Like this is one that I think is going to be a mainstay, and it's Break My Soul. And they use the sample on this one is from that Robin S. song, Show Me Love, I think is the name of that one. But it's just like, it's so familiar because that song was everywhere in the 90s when we were growing up. Like that's a song everybody knows. And it's so familiar, but then it's Beyonce instead, who's also familiar. Just like this one feels like a song I'd heard a million times before, but at the same time I was like, this is something new. This is like a different side of Beyonce.
And this is, to that end, again, this would normally not be my kind of music. It's very like early 2000s, like, those kind of like, they kind of sound like coconutty kind of tones. It's like those,
Mm-hmm.
like you hit those synth things that I can't make the noise, but it's that kind of
Yep.
like hollow pong that's in there.
Yep.
I mean, you hear that? That's total early 2000s. If you told me it was like da 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 dee da da da, like whatever that
Mm-hmm.
this is your night. I don't remember what that song's called, or Rhythm of the Night. Like it's definitely got that same kind of flavor.
Mm-hmm.
And the irony is, I love those songs, but like I wouldn't normally like it from any kind of contemporary artist.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that try to do it and it sucks. But Take My Breath by The Weeknd was kind of in that vein, and this song absolutely in that vein. She
Mm-hmm.
takes something that I'm not nuts about and makes it totally palatable because this has like meaning to her and the lyrics have meaning, and it's,
Mm-hmm.
busting out of repression and doing your own thing, which is kind of what she pitched the whole album as. There's a quote: "A safe place, a place without judgment, a place to be free of perfectionism and overthinking." And like that's
Mm-hmm.
this song is the kind of the anthem to that whole thesis.
Yeah, and I think she does a great job at just doing whatever she wants to do. It seems like. I think when she gets in, because this is not. I think the only one that was kind of on her level, maybe that I can think of, that would get as like creative and willing to kind of go outside of their normal boundaries was Rihanna. I think she was the only other one that I would consistently hear do things that you weren't used to hearing from her. And I think Beyonce does that same thing. Um, and it's refreshing because they could just mail it in, right? They'd sell a zillion records. They just make your standard formulaic. They hire a bunch of songwriters and just do those and be done with it. Beyonce's got a killer voice. She could make a career out of just doing that if she wanted to. But I like that even this far into it, when she's been on top for so long, it's not like it's even in question. When a Beyonce album comes out, there's Beyonce, Adele. If Rihanna ever comes out with another album, there's like three people that are going to like shut the world down if they come out with albums. Beyonce is one of them. So like still having the drive to be creative like this and like do different things like this, I think is a really, really cool thing. And I feel like probably very rewarding to be a fan of Beyonce, to be in the Beehive when she consistently like tries to outdo what she did before.
Yeah, and she releases a lot of live stuff and a lot of singles, and she does a lot of like visual projects and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like constantly giving her fans something, which is like pretty cool. She doesn't like disappear and like vanish between projects,
Mm-hmm.
it seems. So that's cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, like you said, a new album is, it's a pandemic. Shut the world down.
Yeah.
The new Beyonce's out. And that's never been appointment viewing for me, not because she's not great. It's just I had other shit going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Big
Yeah.
Frank
And that
Zappa
same.
guy.
Now, if Frank Zappa were to drop an album, that would be, I mean, there'd be a whole lot of questions you'd have to ask, but how quick would you listen to that?
Yeah, you gotta listen. The thing is, the Zappa estate is dropping albums almost daily. It seems there's
Of
too
his
much
stuff or of theirs?
of stuff that he recorded during his lifetime. He just has a fucking gigantic
Probably
like
hundreds,
salt cavern full of
thousands. Yeah.
and it's just all coming out all the time. Something new all the time.
And they're just trying to make as much money off his back as they can.
Because I'm pretty sure the trust was bankrupt when he died. So I think
Well, yeah, he was probably like, "Well, can't take it with you. Might as well rip through it. Why wouldn't you?" He
Might as
probably
well.
knew his kids were assholes.
Might as well buy 7 Mini Moog synthesizers and write an opera. They
Did he
don't
really
need it.
buy 7 of the same one?
No. I'm just attributing
Oh, okay.
stupid dickhead stuff to him.
That sounds like it would be a Frank Zappa thing. He's like, "Well, I want to use them at the same time."
I could see him trying to layer something like that, but then he would use like the tracking system for it. What I can see him do is being extreme. He's another guy who has the right to be extremely petty because he was a genius. So if he knew some rival wanted a Moog, he'd buy everyone in the fucking store. I could absolutely see him doing that.
Who was his rival? Like who was the people that he like considered himself against?
He didn't really, because I think it was a combination of I don't see myself in competition with other artists. That being said, he like that kind of allowed him to speak openly. We've taken a complete turn here.
That's okay. we were running tight, so we're good.
Cool. He wasn't afraid to point shit out, and it didn't make him a lot of friends. I don't think he saw his contemporaries as contemporaries, not because he thought what he was doing was better. He was like, everything we're all doing in the grand cosmic scheme of things doesn't matter. It's just fun, and it's the only thing that I can ever be happy doing, so I'm just going to make music for me, and if other people like it, awesome. But that's my goal. Same kind of thing as the Grateful Dead.
Yeah, what a beautiful bunch of weirdos.
Right? Nice little tangent for the boys.
Yeah, what a beautiful. I think that kind of cements it. You know, I think a Frank Zappa episode would be a good idea. And I think doing that sometime soon would be a good idea.
Drop a nickel in me, man. I'll go all night.
Yeah. So I think we should plan for that probably in the next few weeks. Let's see when we got a dry spot for an album and just do it then.
Cool.
But make that our next holdover episode. Well, it's booked. We set it on the pod. It's legally binding.
Penciled in for a future day TBD.
All right. So the next song after Break My Soul. Did you have anything else that you want to talk about on Break My Soul? Because we did get off on that tangent.
No,
so if
we
you
went on a mega tangent.
Yeah. Well, it's about time that people got a little context about why Frank Zappa comes up on the show all the time.
Yeah, because I'm an insane person. That's why.
Yeah, well, I think we all are. We're all here because we're not all there tonight, Alex.
Ooh, I like that. I'm putting that on a t-shirt.
Well, Aerosmith might suit you because it's definitely one of their lyrics.
Oh, is that an Aerosmith lyric?
Oh, yeah.
Well.
But I'd like to think it's mine now. I've used it so much in my life.
Shouldn't have said nothing. You should have let me embarrass myself.
It's like eminent domain at this point. I own it. Then. Yeah. Well. So after Break My Soul, it flows right on into Church Girl. And now if there's going to be and I don't even know if this is a dark horse pick, but if there's going to be something that topples Break My Soul as the kind of like big hit on this album, this is the song I think that would do it.
I really, really loved this song, especially at the end of this. We did a 4-run streak, but to me it's really a 3-run from Energy, Break My Soul, Church Girl, like that. When you sent those as your picks, I was like, that cluster makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
It's like its own little trilogy. And this one, I think, is like, it's elegant in its simplicity. It's rejecting judgment and shame. It's got this great kind of Sunday morning gospel churchy sound melded with trap beats. It's fun all through it. And the thesis of it is, I'm a church-going girl, but I'm not judgmental or shitty. She literally says, I'm not trying to hurt anybody. So it's this kind of like wonderful sense of sentiment of devotion, but no judgment. I'm finally on the other side. I finally found the extra smiles, swimming through the oceans of tears we cried. Like, that line to me sums it all up.
And that, the outro at the end, and this is where I wanted to get to before I kind of brought this up. So I assume maybe she's talking, I don't know, she's talking about Jay-Z. Must be the cash because it ain't your face. I mean, that's one of the meanest things I've ever heard. Like last week with Viagra Boys, we were talking about how troglodyte was such a good insult for somebody. But goddamn, must be the cash because it ain't your face.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Damn.
He's got X's for eyes.
Damn. Like, is that about Jay-Z? Did you think about that? Because I thought about that.
Honestly,
I think it's about him.
For this, I was thinking about it in a totally different context. The Jay-Z stuff didn't really stick out to me. I was way more paying attention to the like I said, the kind of like the musical, the little mini musical of like Beyonce does a dance album. I weirdly like left her personal life out of a lot of it. I like completely dissociated from that. I don't know why or how, but yeah. That's a long way of me saying, no, Geoff, I didn't experience the same thing.
Well, if that is in fact about Jay-Z, I'm like, God damn.
That's pretty
Like,
rough.
I know, I know this guy fucked up. He cheated on her. I know this. But she did a whole like visual album on how much like just like basically just talking shit about him the whole time. And then did it a bunch in the album after that. Like basically has like given a lot of quotes about how she still hasn't like let it go. And I'm like, at a certain point, like that's something you maybe gotta like either cut the cord or you gotta let it go. You know? It's just crazy.
I think quite the opposite. I think you hold on to that for your trump card for the rest of your goddamn life.
You
And
know,
every time he fucks up.
That's I think that's you looking at life like in a very Machiavellian sort of way.
Is it, Jeff? I'm only looking at it like Beyonce does.
And I
so
think
if
that's,
I'm a monster, so's Beyonce.
I think that's fair. You know, I think that's fair. Tomato, tomato on that one. So Church Girl, I think it's great because I think it's she's acknowledging that she still is a church girl, you know, and I think it's also acknowledging that like she still recognizes her roots. I think is where a lot of that comes from because that's where you learn. You know, I don't think that's something she came upon later in life. I think she grew up going to church. I think isn't that where she started was singing in church?
In Houston,
like,
I'm fairly certain.
Yeah, like classic pop star, you know, kind of beginning there.
Yeah.
And I think that being the case, I think that also grounds her music because I think she is grounded as a person. I think it grounds her music. So like this is a very relatable thing. Like she will have her songs about how she has like Gucci bags and, you know, that kind of stuff and like bragging on her success. But she's got a lot of songs here where none of that really happens. This is all stuff that any regular old person can relate directly to because there's nothing in here that they like can't afford. It's all stuff they've done. Like so many people have grown up in the church and do exactly what Beyonce does on the weekends. You know what I mean? It's just like, I feel like that's her strength is while she is like otherworldly successful, she has remained like very relatable because I think she's never let go of like where she came from.
And I think it's her reconciling in a very happy way the two pieces of herself, the girl with the good, like the upbringing in the church, and then someone that doesn't want to see, you know, members of the LGBT community suffer. And there are a lot of like homages to that on this album. Like I did a lot of the reading behind it, and someone she called her godmother, I think Uncle Johnny, her godmother, was a family friend who died of AIDS. And she dedicated this album to him. So there's a lot of like shout out to the drag culture and the balls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there's someone with an affinity for that and that community who also has a strong faith and is just like, I'm going to go to church, and that's not a symbol of me not standing in solidarity. And when I stand in solidarity with this people, that is not a symbol that I don't believe in my religion and love God. So it's kind of a nice, you know, your mileage may vary with religion on a personal level, but it's like a nice sentiment. You know what I mean?
Well, when religious people are like that, I got no problem at all with it.
Absolutely.
I'm like, that's great. You're going by what I think it actually should be, you know, the kind of the tenets of, or at least what the tenets should be of that religion, you know. And I think when they do that, because I mean, we don't have to, and we certainly don't need to go down this tangent, but you know, one question is like, how do we think Jesus would, like, knowing what we know about what's written about him in that book, how do we think he'd feel about what Christians are doing these days?
Yeah, what people who completely misinterpret that shit. And it sounds to me like Beyonce has kind of gotten down to the real spirit of what it stands for.
Yeah.
At that, I tell you what, that Beyonce knows, Jeff, she's got a good head on her shoulders, I think.
She does. I think if she sticks on this path, I think she's going to make it. So what do you say we move on? You've got two more picks here. So your first of your last two is Virgo's Groove. And just to remind everybody, Alex picked all boner jams on this one.
Well, first of all, 90% of the songs in this album were boner jams. If I swung a dead
true.
cat, I was bound to hit a boner jam or two.
That's true.
Now,
That's
yes,
true.
I did go out of my way to get the gnarly ones. And Virgo's Groove is absolutely one of those. Like, who you want to talk about another super horny rapper? Doja Cat. We all know.
Yeah.
Pro
Oh,
cat. We like the cat on this show. Our old friend Doja. She can really come up with a groove. And this song has that same kind of like funky walk with the synth shimmer. Like, I'm a big sucker for that kind of stuff. The song has attitude, and that attitude is very horny. Because apparently Virgos are very horny people, and she's a Virgo, and that's kind of the long and short of the whole song. It's just her very zhuzhed up way of saying, I gotta get it. Girls gotta eat.
Yep. It's fair. I mean, why wouldn't you, I guess, express when you're at that level? I mean, everybody's kind of at your beck and call. So it's like, why not say it? You know?
Just, yeah, I mean, it's Occam's song title. The simplest answer is the right one.
Exactly.
You are a nice Virgo gal, and you just want to take control and lay your fella down by the fire.
Yeah.
And shag his brains out.
What I want to know is how good would an album have been if Beyonce and Prince had done one together?
Yeah, I don't think we survived that.
No, I think we're worried about what's going to go on with Russia and Ukraine and nuclear war from that. Like, we dodged a bullet because they never did an album together, because that might have been the end of it.
You can't launch nuclear war if you're too busy coming in your pants, and that is what everyone would be doing. There would be not a gene uncreamed in this great nation and abroad if Prince and Beyonce could have collaborated on an album in their lifetime. I'll just say that right here.
The night of a million flooded basements. I mean, it'd be just be ugly. Everybody's socks would be ruined. It'd be terrible.
Someone's got to write a Smoke on the Water style homage to that moment. And everybody in the world heard that song and came in unison.
You know what? You know who would have been perfect for that? Frank Zappa.
Truly. And he would have treated it with the deference it deserved, probably
exactly.
by having a fart chorus.
Yeah, like he would have taken it seriously and through the lens of an artist and not somebody just trying to make a quick buck.
Absolutely not doing a fart chorus. He would not do that.
No.
He would not have a whole course done by farting anuses. Not Frank Zappa.
Nope.
He's above that.
Nope. And he would not. And if he did, he wouldn't use autotune. He would record those farts until he got the notes that he needed.
Only cowards auto-tune their farts, and I will die on that hill.
Yes, only cowards do it. So are you a coward? I'm not a coward.
I'm not a coward.
No, and since we're not cowards, we are going to venture into talking about the last one of your picks is called Thick.
Listen.
I'm listening.
If you guys thought that Beyonce was going to go ahead and release a song called Thick, and I wasn't going to pick it, then I guess you don't listen to this show. What the fuck is wrong with you? Get out. Get out of here. Of course I picked Thick. This song is bootylicious all grown up. It has that like trap
all
beat.
Grown up is yeah understatement,
dude.
Maybe.
This is a mature self-possessed woman doing bootylicious. It's got that trap beat and it starts out all like sultry and understated. It's got like callbacks to previous songs in verse 2. It's repeating these themes. And then you get that bridge, and that's when shit like really starts to come up. Then this song like goes off the fucking rails and comes back down to earth and revisits the beginning of the song. There's like a whole rhythmic cycle to this thing, peaks and pits all over the place. This is a booty song. This is a booty song. Am I wrong, Jeff? Am I wrong? Or is this not a grown-ass woman doing bootylicious?
I think you're absolutely right. And maybe this is like when someone does the eventual Beyonce biopic, the opening credits are going to be bootylicious. The ending credits are going to be thick. And the journey is going to be everything between.
Damn, that could be like a really actually instead of like a Beyonce biopic, if you did like a Pixar movie about an anthropomorphic butt, and those were the bookend songs. Then my Frank Zappa fart chorus would make total sense.
Alex, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just something, the extracurricular activities that we participate in, before this show. But there's some ideas flowing there, my man. I mean, we need like a theme song for that movie. We can resurrect the ashes of Frank Zappa to write that song for us. And since it's about an anthropomorphic butt, that fart chorus makes total sense, and you are dead on.
It all ties in together. It all comes together when the fart chorus is involved. It all hinges on that. If we can get that working, you got a song.
I mean, I can't imagine that it's going to do anything less than $1 billion at both the box office and through streaming services.
Done and done.
Yeah.
How do we keep getting on fart tangents? Is that my fault? It has to be.
Well, I think generally in our group of friends, and really I might just be projecting here and wanting things to be the way that I like them to be. And farting is just funny. Like, no matter what, farting is just funny. In fact, at my funeral, I want fart machines just placed kind of strategically throughout whatever space they're doing the service in, if I have one. And then I want somebody to just have control of that fart button. So every once in a while, like during a nice poignant moment, somebody just, it sounds like somebody ripped a beefy one.
So it kind of sounds like those vibrating panties where somebody else has the remote control and they can just kind of zap you with one from like across the party. It's some jaunty thing couples do. I bet Beyonce and Jay-Z do it, to be quite honest.
Probably.
So instead of that, we just put a fart machine, let's be honest, in your coffin, and we just pass the remote around.
That's so much better.
Just a little compressed gas cannon that just shoots stinky gas and is like graphically loud.
That's so much better than my idea.
Lights the coffin on fire. The whole thing's a wonderful mess. A brilliant mistake.
Oh, that's so much better than my idea. That would be wonderful. And if you're wondering how we got to that conversation from talking about this Beyonce album, trust me, we're wondering the same thing. We don't know how this happens sometimes. It's just that when the train starts going off the tracks, what are you going to do? If you're inside, you just got to go with it.
And we are right there with you. We are not in control of this thing. I know it might seem that way sometimes. We are not in control of this thing.
No, the only one in control, it seems, is Beyonce. And it sounds like she's very much in control in the song Thick. And I think this is one, because this is kind of like, what, is it the fourth from the end or something? Because my main issue with this album is this was a great song, but it was among a run of songs towards the end of the album that I wasn't like crazy about. I think that's my only like real criticism of the album, is the back end of it kind of like it kept going on and on, whereas I feel like there was some fat that could have been trimmed off of the whole experience.
No pun intended, considering this song is called Thick.
Yes, no pun intended. We would not do that here.
No,
out on that line.
No trim and no fat, not in the context of Thick.
No, we can't do that. But it's just, do you know what I mean? It's just like that whole, and I don't know if you had the same experience with the back half of the album. I don't want to put words in your mouth with it, but it did seem like you had that run of the 3 songs, Energy, Break My Soul, and Church Girl. Then it just seemed like more things were just like kind of sprinkled in that were really good experiences for the rest of it. And it wasn't totally consistent the whole way.
I agree with you in the sense that this album had to be an hour long, I think, for the concept, to really get that sense of like all the transitions being featured and like to tell a very complete story. I think it had to be an hour long. That's too long for me of this kind of thing. So I'm with you. I feel like it didn't necessarily, I don't necessarily want to say it overstayed its welcome, but at a certain point I was like, this is kind of like too much for me, but it had to be this long.
Yeah, it was overall, like, I'm not going to complain about the experience, and there was enough. The songs that I really liked on this album are plenty good enough to me to carry the whole thing and make this, a stream it for me. And especially if you're a Beyonce fan, let's face it, like, this episode is going to come out and that album will have been out for like a week and a half. So if you're a Beyonce fan, you've already listened to this. If you're not a Beyonce fan, but you like dance music and you like music from like the early 90s, go listen to this one, because I think especially Break My Soul and a few other options and a few other songs on this one, because I think you're going to find some stuff you really like if you enjoyed that style of music back then. So overall for me, it's a stream it. There's some stuff that I could take or leave, but overall I think it was good enough that, it was above the Mendoza line for me.
Okay. The thing is, my opinion almost doesn't matter in terms of stream it or skip it, because you're going to listen to this album or you're not. And I don't think my opinion is going to sway you.
Yeah.
I would be inauthentic if I was like, this was so fucking good and it changed my life. I'm just like, she's such a talent. It's like, yeah, we know Beyonce's talented and we all know her music. It just depends on what combinations of songs you know. We grew up, we kind of came of age in the early 2000s. We know a very specific run of Beyonce.
Yep.
So I'm never going to sit here and pretend to claim any membership in the Beehive. Absolutely not. But I'm friendly with Beyonce and I'm friendly with the Beyonce crowd. I got nothing against you guys. You're not Swifties.
No.
I can get down with the
Thank
Beehive.
God. Yeah, thank God. You know who I'd want having my back in a dark alley is someone from the Beehive. Way more than I'd want a Swiftie, for sure.
Yeah, they probably have one of those like Wild Wild West concede blades up their sleeve. You know what I mean? Like you're getting hassled at the club and then just some girl in a pink feather boa just clack. Just a little like wrist knife comes out.
Yeah. I think the only other one, and this might be a tie, is like a BTS stan. I don't know if someone from the Beehive or a BTS stan or somebody that's part of both. I don't know if that's allowed, if you're allowed to hold two separate membership cards at the same time. But if that's the case, that's who I would want having my back.
You're going BTS and Beehive?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going Deadheads and Parrotheads.
Well, it depends what kind of experience you're looking to have. If you don't want to remember what you did for the weekend, I think your pick is the better one. And honestly, now that I think about it, I might enjoy that a little more because I can kind of take care of myself. But if there is a real concern for violence, whether it be physical or verbal or mental, the BTS stands in the Beehive are going to be the ones that I think get you out of that trench.
No, they're definitely the ones that they ride in. They're the cavalry, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Beehive, the BTS stands. No, the reason why I select the Deadheads and the Parrotheads is because they are just a mass of humanity well past their prime.
Mm-hmm.
They're of no use to anybody, these people. They're just taking up space. So we just basically use them as a human meat wall to throw at the problem.
Got it.
And then the Beehive comes over the top and delivers the killing blow. Once they've tired themselves out hacking away at Jimmy Buffett fans.
That's how Russia beat Germany in World War II.
I'm nothing if not a student of history.
That meat grinder's going to wear out eventually.
Eventually the blade's going to go dull. And what are you going to do then? You're going to get stabbed.
What are you going to do then? I'll tell you what you can do, Alex. You can head over to our YouTube page and you can check out all of our podcast episodes, all of our singles videos, and we haven't done one of those in a while, so I'm sorry, folks. If you were here for the singles videos, get in those comments and tell us that you want some singles videos, because to be honest with you, I have more fun with the reaction videos because you get to hear some new stuff. You get to kind of get some experience, like it's more of you're experiencing it with people more than you are with the singles videos. I feel like with the singles videos, it's like a mini TED Talk, basically, and just like talking at people. I don't really like that. I like kind of feeling like I'm talking with people. So that's why I prefer those. But if you love the singles videos, tell us in those comments. If you love the reaction videos, tell us in those comments. Tell us what you want us to react to. Is there anything new and exciting coming down the pike? On the YouTube front, Alex?
Plenty of exciting stuff. By the time this episode airs, a new reaction video will have come out, and it's a bit of a different direction for a reaction video, I may say. Something we've never done before. So by now you've seen it. but I'm hyping it up in the past for your pleasure in the present, which is
Yes.
also my future. And you can learn all about that and more at www.youtube.com/c/out on that line.
That might have been the smoothest thing we've ever done.
Yow. Yow, like shit through a goose.
That was slicker than cheese on a hot July day, my friend.
Tell you what.
So you can also get us on Instagram. Make sure you still listen on Spotify, Anchor, all those fun places. You can get the regular podcast anytime, but you can get all of it on the YouTube page. So if you're looking for everything in a nice little tight package, you head to that YouTube page. Make sure you subscribe. Let us know what you want to hear. And do you have any closing thoughts, Alex? Is there anything just burning you up and you want to tell the folks?
I just want to say thank you and farewell to the Beehive.
Yes, this was a pleasurable experience. Hopefully it remains that way when this actually becomes public. And until next time.